So I was going to South Dakota State University. Brad Funk was project manager on B1B support facilities in South Dakota, and he wanted an intern. Brad called me, and I thought I was blowing the interview. And at the end of the interview, Brad said, "And can you be here on Monday?" When we got to the end of the summer, Brad said, "What would it take for you to be project engineer on this job?" So I jumped at the chance. I started on May 20th, 1985. I got to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was 1 o'clock in the morning at the end of the day, and I went into the conference room and said, "If there's not anything else that you guys need, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day." And Brad said, "Yeah, that's okay, but try and put in a full day tomorrow." And believe it or not, I went back to work the next day. And 35 years later, I'm still here. I was on the Palmer Center in Colorado Springs. I was schedule engineer on the $300 million Los Angeles Convention Center. From there, moved to Coors Field. My supervisor called me into his office and said, "Joe, we have this project in Southern California." And my immediate response was, "I don't want to go." And then I was in the Denver office one day and I got paged. So I answered the call and I heard, "Joe, this is Mort." And he explained to me how important it was to him and the Mortenson family that I go on this project. So how could I say no? And it turned out, actually, that was one of my favorite projects I worked on because of the team that was there. Moved to Minnesota in '96. At that time, all of our projects were managed independently. So Tim Johnson and I, along with the committee of engineers and pilot projects, launched the project management control system, which is Project Solutions today. November of 2002, I'd gone back to South Dakota, decided to go to my parents' house. I don't remember much of it. I remember crawling through frozen grass. The next closest farmhouse was a mile away, and this gentleman was remodeling that farmhouse. He didn't live there, but he couldn't sleep that night, so he decided to work on his house, and that's who found me. When the ambulance got to me, my core body temp was 82 degrees. So had this guy not found me, my parents would have found me on their way to church the next morning, and I would have been gone. So I was airlifted to North Memorial, put in a drug-induced coma for a month. While I was still in the hospital, the gentleman that found me was remodeling the house for his fiancée. She had broken up with him. He left a suicide note in his pickup, locked himself in the house, and burned the house down. So I never got to thank him. At the time, I was angry. One of the first things that I asked when I was capable was a list of my medications. And one of the things listed was an antidepressant. And I said, "Why am I on this antidepressant? I'm not depressed, I'm pissed off." Quadriplegic means I have paralysis in all 4 limbs. So I obviously can't move my legs and I don't have the hand function. Mortenson came in, remodeled my house, put an elevator in, and then also did a fundraiser running the Edmund Fitzgerald Ultramarathon, which I had led the race and was a marathon runner, and bought my first van for me. I love to work out at Courage County.
Yeah, he's such a nice caring guy. Like, he would always come into class and ask, how is everybody doing? At the same time, he's always joking with everybody.
Joe, I think, began correcting my grammar the first week that I met him, which I totally appreciated. Joe has pretty much touched every portion of the ABLE program. ABLE stands for Activity-Based Locomotor Exercise, and it's an intensive exercise program.
And Joe's goal, initially starting ABLE, was to pick up his grandchild, which he accomplished.
I have 8 grandchildren that are the joy of my life. Things I'm most proud of are my sons, which I credit them for me being alive, because they took care of me after my injury. When I went back to work at Mortenson, I said I wanted to do something that gave back. So they established the Community Stewardship Coordinator. At that time, we had a United Way campaign in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and Seattle. And I said, no, we need to have this be company-wide. 2009 was the first year that the United Way campaign went company-wide. So in 2019, when we adopted the Benevity platform, that grew to the Do Something Good campaign. I'm still there on a part-time basis as Community Impact Coordinator. I do a lot of hand cycling, love hand cycling. I am a wheelchair user. I'm not wheelchair bound. I'm not confined to the wheelchair. People will say to me, Joe, how long have you been in the chair? And I'm like, just got in it this morning. I am sitting on my wheelchair. I don't consider myself in the wheelchair. It is a tool I use to make me independent. Yes, I was angry. But I can either be in resentment and be angry, or choose to live the life that I have. And it's a pretty great life.